The most notable achievements stand as testimony to the power of human potential. The potential to dream, to have an idea, the potential to work, to celebrate, to challenge, whether alone or as part of a community. The power of human potential. To push on when one wishes to quit. To resist when necessary. To inspire when called upon. The potential to comfort and start over. The potential to win despite the odds. To overcome and achieve the once unthinkable. It's an awesome thing to see human potential realized. Think about your own human potential. What is it you want to be remembered for? What will you create when you elevate the human potential in yourself and in all of those around you?
It is truly an awesome thing to see human potential realized. You don't have to look very far to find outstanding examples of humans reaching their potential. But isn't it also true you don't have to look very far to find humans that are not reaching their potential? Think about what you're trying to accomplish. I imagine everyone in this room is trying to scale their business. That's why when Ben Hardy came on your radar, you said, I'm going to show up. Raise your hand if that's true for you. And the one thing that we all have in common in this room is we absolutely cannot scale unless we are in the human business. We have got to have the ability to recruit, find, inspire people to follow our cause. And yet, most people would say, business would be easy if it wasn't for the people. You get a group of business owners together, what's their number one complaint? People. I can't find people. People are lazy. People don't want to work anymore. On and on and on. And the truth is, it isn't that people don't want to work. It isn't that people don't have standards. It's that you don't have standards and people don't want to work for you. That's the mirror. Do I need to say that again or should we say amen? If you want to run a business that crushes your competition, that builds your dreams, you absolutely have to get out of the business you are in and you have to get into the business of people. If you're a leader, you're not in the HVAC business, you're not in the plumbing business, you're not in the cleaning business, you are in the business of people. And you have to make studying people your life's work. How do you get there? Grab them and pull them into your cause. Now, your people can be in the business of HVAC plumbing. You got to make money. But if you look at the leaders that have transformed our world, they have this ability to get people and see people and have those people follow them. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to reveal to you 5 things that if you absolutely master these, it will give you the ability to scale any business that you're in, and it all comes down to patterns and data. So we're going to start by, you know what I said earlier, the only good thing about being an author is you can quote yourself? I'm going to quote myself right now. People are unique, but they're predictably unique. What does that mean? It means that there's only so many patterns of people. And if you can get really good at understanding people in a really short period of time, you can get really good at getting top results out of people. But here's the problem. Most people don't even know what great looks like. How many of you would say you have great meetings at your company? Great meetings? Great. Only a few hands? Do we have how many people are leaders in this room? Why don't you have great meetings?
Excellent.
Excellent. Oh, you have excellent. All right. Here's the truth. The valuation of your business is directly tied to the quality of your people. I want to play for you, before we get into this section, the 5 truths about humans. I've worked with some of the best sales teams on the planet. And you know, when you work with a sales team, you get to work with the entire team. So you get to see into the guts of the organization. And what I realized when I came into the Elliott Group is, you know, in my book, I say things are good or bad by comparison. I had never compared things to where the Elliott Group's at. No comparison. And I've seen a lot. So yesterday in their sales meeting, I recorded the last 8 minutes of their sales meeting. How many people want to see it? Okay, 8 minutes. So you might get bored, but here's what I'm going to ask of you. I want you to take a blank piece of paper and I want to just put a line down the middle, play along with me. And I want you to put us, that's like you, and them, that's the Elliott Group. What are they doing differently? What do you see? Now, I want you to put you in a frame of mind. They have a meeting every morning at 8:15. It happens regardless if the first level leadership is there, whether Andy and Jackie are there. It happens whether or not the second level leadership is there. It happens whether or not the third level or the fourth level leadership. It starts at 8:15 and it runs for an hour and it runs every single day. I randomly chose this 8 minutes at the end of the last sales meeting. Now, why do I say this? 2 reasons. The meeting's actually more powerful when Andy and Jackie are not there. And they're the leaders. How many of you could say if you weren't there, your meeting would actually be better? And then if you took your next level leader and they weren't there, that it would be even better. That's how you know you have a culture, when it's so embedded in who they are as a human that they naturally show up. So I'm gonna, let's just turn the lights in. Can we play that video? And I just want you to take notes. It's 8 minutes. And this is at the end of already an hour of great training.
On the same page. This whole passing stage. Because what happens is people start to get disconnected. You start to make shit up in your head that something's wrong, something's not right. And in order for us to reset every day, this is why you've had to come to these meetings every single day. And a lot of the times we're not going to say something fresh or brand new. There's no fucking trick. Jimmy, there's no trick. There's no trick. The trick is showing up every day and giving it all you got. The trick is being nice to one of the new guys and figuring out what Michael's story is, figuring out what Kayla's story is, getting close to Ruben, getting close to Luke, and then finding those people like you. Some of you guys that are new, you should be finding a couple of these veterans where you can just latch onto their hip. Like that will be the ultimate hack for you, is just to find somebody that's doing 60, 70, 80K consistently. And maybe you're at like 10, 15, 20K. And you find that guy like Luke that can say, hey, don't do it this way. Do it this way. Don't do it this way. Do it this way. Do Ian and I want to help you guys close all your deals? Absolutely, dude. I want to show you guys, but also I want to see you guys like fighting for yourself. I want to see over this next year, like how much you fight for yourself in this fitness competition. I want to see our standards get like so high up that even when Andy walks in here, he's like, dude, this is crazy. I mean, I thought I had a badass team, but it's time for us to go to the next level. We got to go to the next level with our energy. We got to go to the next level with our charisma. We can't be shy. We have to be ready to attack. We have to walk up to people in public, give them love, talk to them, be the example, have the moral authority. Once you start to hit these things and you walk into a room, people are just like, dude, you're different. And when you start to do it every day, what happens? You're a freaking dog. But most people, they can't live this way. That's why they have a cycle. Every 2 or 3 years or every couple months, they go back to the same old version of them. We have to be the people that say we're never going back. We're never going back. And if we hold all of each other accountable, what happens? Dude, look, just think about what our company will look like in 1 year. I want you guys to think about, I want you, close your freaking eyes. Close your eyes. I want you to visualize something real quick, and then we're going to end this meeting. I want you to visualize, I want everybody's eyes closed. I want you to visualize it's the end of 2026. What does your bank account look like? What does your belief look like? What does your body look like? What does it look like when you walk into an event? Maybe you're being invited to speak on a stage. What is the goal? What is a dream? Maybe it's a car. Maybe it's winning the ElliottHire Lamborghini. Maybe it's some respect or a conversation with Andy or Jackie. I want you to think about something powerful. I want you to think about something that gets you emotional. Maybe it's your wife. Maybe it's your kids. Maybe it's just them being proud. Maybe it's you paying off your last credit card bill and knowing that your debt's at zero. Maybe it's you putting a down payment on your dream home like Selena. What does it look like for you? What does the most extreme version of you look like? Like, how does it feel to know that you put in a year worth of effort and it started today? that it started in this fitness challenge, that it started with you finally competing at the level you knew was possible? What does it feel like knowing that every day for 365 days, you didn't drink, you didn't do anything, you didn't party, you just locked yourself in and you went on the freaking mission for greatness? What does that look like for you? Now, when you open your eyes, don't open them yet, but when you open your eyes, I want you to fully believe that that is happening right now. Most of us aren't working hard enough because we think it's far away. If we start working like it's right around the corner, we're going to get it. Michael, think about what that dream looks like. Think about proving those people wrong. Think about somebody who doubted you. Think about somebody who said you're a fucking idiot for coming here. That's 200 push-ups. Think about somebody who does believe in you, who's encouraging you. Who do you have to prove that you're great to? And who do you have to prove wrong? I want you all to open up your eyes. Sometimes you just got to go through that stuff so you can get clarity on exactly where you want to go. Did everybody find some things that get them stirred up?
Yep.
I love that, man. Like, that's what I would do before football games, and I'd be ready to go out and take somebody's head off. You know? So today, like, see, Denny's getting emotional. He's thinking about all of it, man. Like, that's how you win, guys. When you can attach your dreams to emotions like that, that's how you take people out. And then you do it all the time. And Denny, imagine you're walking in here 2 years from now, you're a $500,000 earner, you're $1 million earner, you're giving meetings, you got your own team, you're doing whatever the hell you want to do. You're doing your own event, you're speaking on a stage. Whatever you want to do, can it happen in this company? Yes. Is it like the one company that if you just gave it your all, you will get rewarded for it, you will get seen, people will love you, you will build your own fans? Isn't that shit so cool?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so everybody stand up. Now that we done it all.
There's on this. Only like 15 of you coming over to us tomorrow night. If I missed you, let me know. We're doing dinner and training for seminar tickets. Tomorrow night, my house, like 6-ish. Not in the group chat. Let me know how to do it.
Okay, so we're gonna split the room in half. ElliottHire team, like 2, you guys go over here. As soon as you guys are over here. Okay, yeah. All right, so no. Stay where you're at. Stay where you're at.
I want to attack you.
Stay where you're at. Okay, so it's you guys versus you guys. Actually, I remember when Vincent had a boy. Remember when now he like walks by and he tries to like freaking take shot lunch juice. Not be your crack. So man, teach you to see a freaking frizzle of you. See these. Look at this. You're telling this is not stay here. Edward's coming from that. Oh, we got Edward. See, listen up. I don't care what anybody else out there says. Energy and enthusiasm does sell. There's a lot of people on the internet that talk about our energy and they talk about enthusiasm and they don't think it sells. Do you guys think it sells? No. I think it sells. I think everybody wants to do business when they're in a good mood. I think everybody wants to see other people in a good mood. I think the people that don't like it, they just ain't in a good mood. And we're going to influence them to get in a good mood. Yeah. But we got to influence ourselves every day. That's why Austin, how'd you do the yes when Evan Naysbaum, where's Evan? Where's he at? Evan was down. I was like, hey, go get him to freaking hit fought it up to that shit. So find each other up. But I want you guys to repeat after me. And again, it's this side versus this side. We're going to say this side is better than we do. And I'm going to point, and then you guys are going to say nobody. And then you guys know what I do right. And we'll see who's louder. And then we'll all do something together, okay? All right. Where'd you get over here? Ready? All right, come on. Guys, you guys start turning towards each other. This is a battle. You guys too. Hey, get over here. Tell the Elliott. Come on, let's go. Come here. Let's go. Come on. She went crazy on that one. Who's got it better than we do? Who's got it better than we do? Who's got it better than we do? But hey, we gotta believe this. We give people a chance to dream again. Say, we give people a chance to dream again. All of us together. We give people a chance to dream again. We give people a chance to dream again. Give people a chance to believe in. We give
give people a chance to have fun again. We give people a chance to have fun. We will beat the shit out of you if you're negative. Oh, we will beat the living shit out of you if you're negative. All right, let's go have fun. All was the city.
Can you feel that? If you walked into that room and you were depleted on energy, you weren't sure about where you were going to be for the day, you weren't, your mind was back at home, you were thinking about your personal problems, where do you think you ended up? How do you think they show up? Here's the question. Do you think if you were competing against that group, you would win or lose? Just shout it out.
You're losing.
You're going to lose. Promise you. Best sales team on the planet. 5 years ago, this building wasn't here. The Elliott team was in a building, card table, 4 people. Now they're doing $100 million a year in the hardest thing in the planet to sell, leadership and sales training. And it boils down to being able to live true to principles. So you won't hear them talk about on the stage about their money, although I know a handful of the sales guys in here, under 30, making $1 million a year in commission. They talk about faith, they talk about family, they talk about fitness. Like, why are they living? So you don't have to say, hey, that's not my job. I couldn't jump on a chair and I couldn't do all that. But you have to have your rhythm. You have to have this signature that is you, that draws the people to you, that you want around you and repels the people. If you're having a problem with recruiting and onboarding and training people, it's because you as a leader haven't found your rhythm. You haven't decided what you stand for. Does that make sense to people? All right. How many people want to hire Ian? Yeah, go get her. Here's the deal. You might say, I couldn't be an Ian. I'm going to do an interview with this gentleman right here. Phil, just stand up. Oh, you are standing. No. Dan, I'm going to, he's going to beat my ass. Stand up, Reggie. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I'm going to bring Danny up later and share his story. He's nothing like Ian. Just as powerful leader, because he leads from his place of authenticity. So don't think you have to jump on desk. I don't have to be rah-rah. But you have to be a real, authentic human. People don't work for companies. They work for human beings. You are not in the HVAC business. You're not in the plumbing business. You're not in insurance. Whatever business you're in, you are in the business of people. So let's talk about 5 truths about humans. And I put this picture up because this is in Kansas City. It's the oldest jazz club in Kansas City. And I happen to love jazz music. And my office was directly on the other side of my condo. This place was in the middle. So I would walk past this place every evening trying to get home. And what do you think would happen? I'd start getting close and I would hear the thump, 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 thump. Even on the days I wasn't in the mood, I was too tired. I didn't feel like going in. I go, you know what? Maybe I'll just go inside. And it would look like this inside. It's called the Green Lady Lounge. I don't know why. It's all red. But I would go in this place. And what would happen? I'd go up to the bar and I would lean against the bar. They all knew me because, I'm a local. This is like my Cheers bar. And they say, hey, are you having anything? I say, no, I'm just going to stay for one set tonight. And then what do you think happened? Pretty soon, I'm like, I'll just have one, right? And pretty soon, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. They're saying, hey, Jonathan, got to go. Everything in here is designed to pull you in. Your company is the same way. Think about your company as a jazz club. It's a stage play put on by a psychologist. Everything in your company, the way the lobby is. Have you gone upstairs? The way the lobby is, the way the signage is, the music that's playing, the things people wear, the things they say, every single part of that is designed to get an emotion or a thought from people so that they'll take action. So I want you to go, first off, right, just audit your company. Like, what do you want people to think and feel about your company? Just write those words down. Maybe you go, hey, I want people to believe that I can create champions. I want people to believe they can trust me with their career. I want people to believe they can have a good family working for me, a good living. Just write those down. Take your leadership team outside the building and just look at the front of your building and say, if they had to judge me just on this thing, would all of those things on my list be true? And if they're not, you're telling a lie. It doesn't seem authentic. Have you ever to watch an AI video and it's just slightly off? It's not real. It's kind of creepy. It's creepy for people to walk into your organization and hear you say, we create champions and you can trust us with your family, and you can't even have a clean building. All those clues around us. Here's the other thing about the reason I like jazz clubs. If you go to a jazz club, there's always the house band. They always play together, and they bring the big name traveling musician in. And if you go in, the music starts, and this big name musician comes in, and they riff over the top of the music. They bring their style, their flair, and they land right in beat to the music. It's like they've been playing together for years. Why is it that that's the case in jazz? It's because there's structure. There's rules. They've studied the rules. They know the rules. So they can go anywhere, and they can bring their style and flair and their personality, and they can land right in rhythm with the house band. Now, what does this have to do with you building a great company? Isn't it true you want to hire people that have style, flair, personality? You don't want to squash that out of people. You don't want robots working for you. But you want to bring that in and have the style and flair and have them land right in harmony with the rest of your company. But the only way you can do that is if you have beats in your company, right? People know, here's the beat. This is a weekly beat. It's thump, thump, it's the drum. And then there's the rat-tat-tat. It's the little daily things that we do. If you walk through Elliott's office here, you'll pick up on all those things that were designed to tell people they belong. And here's the beautiful part about leadership is you get to decide what's in your jazz club. What do you want it to sound like? All right, let's talk about the 5 truths of humans. Here's the first one. Things are only good or bad by comparison. What do I mean by that? You and me, we're all the same. When we decide how we think about something or feel about something, it is always in comparison to something we've experienced in the past. Would you agree with me? It's always that way. Simple truth about humans. Things are only good or bad by comparison. Well, what does that mean? It means when you hire somebody, don't you have to know what their standard of, how do they get their standard of great? How do they get their standard of hard work? How do they get their standard of great income? Right? We really need to understand the humans in our business one-on-one. How did they get their standard? I'm showing you a picture here, single wide trailer. And I grew up in a religious cult. Don't worry, I'm out of it. I won't try to convert you. And I was trained from a very young age to go up and knock on people's doors. I grew up with 10 kids in a double wide trailer, so I was from the nice side of town. This was the bad side of town. And I remember being a young person. I must have been 14 at the time. It was sort of weird to be knocking on people's doors at 14, trying to change their mind. I got this picture off the internet, but it looked very much like that, only it had a door, but it was a paper-thin door. And I remember walking up to this door, and I'm getting ready to knock on the door, and in my mind, I'm thinking, this woman's life, or this person's life, must be miserable. I even had a little sarcasm. I remember thinking, wow, this is the American dream. Mind you, I grew up in the double wide. I knock on the door, it's paper thin. She opens the door, and I start into my sermon. I'm like, ma'am, I'm Jonathan Whistman. How's your day today? And she immediately breaks down crying, and I'm thinking, what? She must be miserable, right? And she points to this little lot like this, dirt, and she says, I'm so grateful my kids finally have a safe place to play. That's like 40 years ago. I still almost cry when I say that. That made a powerful impression on me. Things are only good or bad by comparison. That thing that would create misery and I had judged, that was great for her. Isn't it true there's humans walking into your business? And do you get up close and personal with them enough to know where do they get their standard of good or bad? I can tell you from sitting in one-on-ones at the Elliott Group, I can tell you from every organization I've helped develop, it's those leaders that have that ability to get close to people and understand that this is a human. And it's not human resources. Resources are like things we use. It's just a human. How do they get their standard of good or bad? If you can understand that on a personal level, so it's not just how does your team define great, but how does Ricardo, how does Susan, how does Paul define great? And you can do that in every area of your business. That's the secret number one about humans. Things are good or bad by comparison. It seems simple, but when you master this, you will master the ability to bring people into your organization. Number 2, this is a long one. People are already giving 100% of what they believe they're capable of, or they have what they believe is a valid reason for not doing so. I would write that down, take a picture of it if I were you. What do most leaders do with their people? I imagine them like at a yard. You ever put a yard sale on? Probably nobody here. I've attended a few. They put a little sticker out and they put like 25 cents and 10 cents and 1 cent. And we walk through our company and we put stickers on people like that. They're lazy, they're not motivated, we got sticker. Can people tell when you feel that way about them? Even if you never say it? So I want you, if you're a leader, to just master this ability to feel this way. If I'm looking at Brandon, I have to believe that they're giving me 100% of what they're capable of, or they have what they believe is a valid reason for not doing so. Doesn't mean I have to agree with the reason, but they might think, hey, they don't notice top performance anyway, they don't pay us enough, blah, blah, blah. There's 100 reasons. If you want to get the best performance out of your team, notice the patterns that people have related to this. And just accept they're giving 100% of what they're capable of, or they have what they believe is a valid reason for not doing so. That's going to remove every bit of bitterness, resentment, all of the things that can come across the table with an employee, even an employee you're having trouble with, right? If you can just accept they're already giving 100%. Does that make sense? Okay, let's look at number 3. Number 3 is people love autopilot. People love autopilot. Think about a situation where maybe you're driving. For me, oftentimes I'm doing a long trip, fly in from the airport, I land. I can drive all the way from the airport, get all the way home, and not remember any of the drive. That happened to anybody else? Right? Really scary when you weren't planning on going home, all of a sudden you're pulling in your driveway. Think about the intricacy of that. Like if you had to explain to somebody, write down every single thing of how to go from the airport to your house, could you do it? You couldn't. You couldn't say, well, you're going to put X amount of pressure on the accelerator, you're going to turn to 2 degrees, you're going to look to your right. It would be impossible. And yet the human mind is so capable of just being on autopilot. We can do this really complex thing, safely even. And we can have our mind completely elsewhere. Let's talk about a different situation though. Let's imagine that familiar road. Get to the airport, you pull out, and it looks something like this. Do you remember this trip? You do, right? All of a sudden you go, I learned to drive yesterday. Why is this that all of a sudden you come off autopilot? It's a disruption of the pattern. That's exactly it. And as good of a driver as you think you are, now somebody in a position of authority is there to tell you exactly how good you're doing. And that'll pull you off autopilot every time. Now, here's the thing, is if people love being on autopilot, and you do too, how do you use that to design an organization? This is what I call applying design thinking. And you can get my book, The Sales Boss. I have a whole chapter in it about this. But go through your organization, and when are the occasions that it's valuable for your team to be on autopilot? Right? And when that's the case, have your processes so repetitive, so easy. That's why you can get on autopilot, that they can just go on autopilot. I was at the sales conference here a few weeks ago. Andy has a book called The 50 Closes. 50 closes, and they're not short closes, right? Like these are like long closes. And there was a guy sitting in the front row right here about where Jonathan was, and he had this look on his face like, Andy, you're full of shit. And so Andy sort of called him out. He said, I think you don't believe me that I'm doing what I preach. Finally, the guy admitted to it, pulled him up on stage. He had his 50 closes, and he called 6 people from the Elliott team up on stage. He said, ask them any of the closes in the book, any page, and they're going to get it word for word 100% correct. Would you have the confidence to do that with your team? I wouldn't. Every person flawless on every page, 50 closes. Why? You can go on autopilot. He's designed systems thinking, and he wants people to be able to close effortlessly. They're just going to do it. They're not gonna have to think about it. They're not gonna have to say, what do I come up with next? And why do you want them on autopilot? It's just like when you're driving your car on autopilot, what else are you doing? You're thinking about all the other more important things in your life. And that's what you want when you're closing somebody. You want to be able to not focus on the words I'm saying, but you want to be able to tune into what's the impact this is having. What is this person thinking about, right? All of the other emotional things going on. So that's applying design thinking. When we create a sales meeting, let's say that you, as an example, you want to focus on number of calls made, whatever metric you want. With your sales meeting, you can just design a cadence to handle that, right? So oftentimes when I go into an organization, I'll just design, I'll say, whatever the problem is, we're going to design a script. It's going to sound something like, my quota for the company for this quarter is 300K. In order to do that, I have to do X number of calls. Yesterday, I made X, and this is the result. I'm above or behind by X amount. So when I start a sales meeting, everybody knows we're going to start that way every single time. It's a sacred rhythm. It just happens, right? You don't have to ask how people are doing. You just go down here and we go, boop, Tanner starts, and you go, you go, you go, you go, you go. And the leader doesn't say anything. They just observe. What's going to happen to these people when they're self-reporting their numbers? What? Why are they going to increase?
That's what you measure, you can manage.
Yeah, what you measure, you can manage, yes. And you're also tapping into another human trait, is we actually care what other people think. And we all buy our own excuses. Like, I remember when I missed my wife's birthday. I had all sorts of reasons. She knows I love her. Like, I was just so busy. But if I heard somebody else miss their wife's birthday, you're like, man, that guy's a real dick. Right? We let ourselves off the hook. But by designing thinking like that, here's what'll happen. They're going to have some excuse for their non-performance. And they're going to say, Tanner just gets all the great deals. He got lucky a couple of times. But if day after day, there's this rhythm of checking in and they do it on autopilot, pretty soon he's like, wait a minute, she made twice the number of calls. No wonder her sales are twice as much. Like, I might suck, but I don't suck as bad as she does. And he'll get a little better. This is how you apply design thinking. It's how you create a flywheel in your organization. Nothing is by chance. Remember, this is your jazz club. You get to design everything. But poor leaders who are focused on the business and not on their humans, they don't actually think about, what am I trying to create? Does that make sense? So you might also say, hey, sometimes I need people to come off autopilot. Can you design how to come off autopilot? Sure. Try having your sales meeting walking around the parking lot. Would that bring people off autopilot? Sure, it would be. How about if you drove down to the park one Wednesday? Yeah, it's different. That's all you have to do to take somebody off autopilot. You have to insert something different, something unusual. And you as the leader get to decide what that is. So pick the 5 problems in your business and just apply design thinking to them. Just say, how could we create something that creates a trap? Do I need people to be on autopilot or do I need them to be off autopilot? And here's my rule around that. I never change those 5 things for 90 days. Why?
That's it.
Yes, it's sort of testing it. But I know everybody has ADHD. Right? They'll be like, no, that's not going to work. Let's change it this. Oh, let's say it like this. And you'll never know if it's paying off. And you'll also quit it because it'll be uncomfortable for you. When you put a new standard in place, it's uncomfortable for them, it's uncomfortable for you. I remember one of my companies, people would come into the company, they'd be all stressed out during the week. They'd come in, they'd go to their offices. The first time they'd go around and say hello to anybody was like when their hair was on fire. And people started hating each other because the first time they saw Ryan was when Ryan was coming in upset about something, needing my help. So we just instituted a rule. Every time when we come into the building, doesn't matter what time it is, you go around, you say hello to everybody in the office. You do the same thing in the evening. Do you think people hated it for a while? Yeah, they just like, why are we doing this? I'm busy. Why are these people stopping by my office? It took 90 days and then the culture was there. And then it was like, hey, why didn't you stop by my office? I missed seeing you this morning. We started noticing people were really stressed on Friday and we were losing people in our company because they go home, they'd be stressed out and they'd talk to their mate and maybe mate would be like, well, maybe another job. So we started shutting down at 3 o'clock. We'd do 2 hours of what we called for activities. We just do fun. Little games, that sort of thing. Do you think people loved that? No, they hated it. Yeah, when I first started, they were like, well, if we're getting off at 3, I should just be home with my family. I would have put in enough hours. And I had to deal with that for 2 months. And guess what happened in month 3? One of the departments made a whole movie poster and they came up with the game. And they promoted it all week. And then seeing that, one of the other departments said, well, we can do a bigger movie poster. And pretty soon, Proactivity became this thing we were known for. Nobody wanted to leave Proactivity. We use system design to say, how do we send people home to their families feeling good? So when they walk in the door, they're already smiling. And do you want to see your spouse smile? Of course you do. And if they come home from work a better human, do you want them to stay in that job, even if it's a little less pay, even if they sometimes work overtime? That's just system design thinking. By the way, we sold that company. And it's sort of funny story because it's in Kansas City. Those same 5 employees have moved from company to company to company. Every time one of them moves, it's like a year later, all of them were there. Because they develop such a bond of getting to know each other. That's design thinking. Here's the most important one. People need to belong. Notice what I didn't say. I didn't say people want to belong. People need to belong. So if you as a leader don't tell people how they fit in your organization, they are always going to be a misfit. It's your job to say how they fit. I want you to think back to Ian's sales meeting. Do you tell people how to fit? Over and over again, right? We're going to raise our standard. We're going to look after each other. We're going to get better in our health. We're not going to drink. That's how you fit in. In fact, when they do a recruiting program, we're going to talk about their recruiting program here in a little bit. They actually have their meeting here. They sometimes interview 40, 50 people at a time. And Andy will tell people, look, if you drink heavily and you're not willing to quit, you're not going to fit in here. If you don't live the healthy lifestyle, you're not willing to go to the gym a few times a week, you're not going to fit in here. You'll be uncomfortable. For some people, that repels them. But does it draw the people who are going to be aligned with his mission? That's the thing. When you look at Andy's culture, you don't have to say, do I want to do it this way? You should ask yourself, do I want the results that he's getting? Do I want people who would die on the field of battle for my company? Right? Do the humans that come into our organization get better and better? I think we have a sacred responsibility as business owners to change our entire country. I talk to business owners that just burn through employees, and they act like it doesn't matter because they don't have a great onboarding program. They don't have their crap together. No systems in place. It's not inspiring. Somebody comes in, they just fire them. They just move on. What happens to that human that just churns out of your organization? Like I was talking to somebody in a HVAC company, true story, California. He was almost proud of it. They just churn people out. So he gets people coming out of trade school. How many people are in HVAC? You hire people out of trade school? Probably don't know a bunch coming out of school, right? It's true. So you hire people in. These are young people. Put them in a truck, a couple of days of training in this thing. Within 90 days, he's putting them on a performance plan and getting rid of them. Think of the impact on that young person who somehow has managed to pay for trade school, right? Gets his first job. Who do you think he told he got his first job? Everybody. His girlfriend, his parents, right? Like he's excited. He got through school. He's got his first job. And now 90 days later, he's going to be like, oh, I got fired. To me, that matters. Would it matter to you? Right? But we're churning people out and we're putting them back into the community. And I'm not saying never fire people. But when it's your fault, so if you want to win, this all comes down to the truth that the company with the best people wins. That's the valuation of your company. But more than that, when you build a great company, you create legacy, you create strength in your community. And when we have strong communities, we have a strong country. And when we agree that there's a degradation of principles in our country, of the kind of humans that are in our communities, of course there is. And I think entrepreneurs are in the #1 position. We're used to solving really hard problems in really elegant ways. So we can do this when it comes to people. So number 4, people need to belong. And you need to teach people how they belong. So how do people decide they belong? There's 4 things. First thing is sacred rhythms. What do you think of when I say rhythm? Yeah, music, right? There's a beat. Boom, 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 boom. What do you think of when I say sacred? Most people think religious, holding it in high esteem, important. So I want to put those two words together. Sacred, it's of high importance, and it's a rhythm. It's a beat. When people know the rhythm, they know what's going to happen, they start to feel like they belong. When you walk into, and you know this to be true about yourself, when you walk into a strange environment and you don't know what to expect, do you feel like you belong? No, but when you finally know the routine, you know how things are going to go, you start to belong. Even in a dysfunctional environment, you can start to feel like you belong as long as you know what's going to go on, right? So sacred rhythms, you have to design in your company, what are the sacred rhythms? Not everything can be sacred, but you get to pick. So if you have a weekly meeting, is it sacred? Do you always have it? Is it done a certain way, right? Our fractivity, as an example, was a sacred rhythm. We weren't missing it unless we were at a trade show or conference. That was the only time we ever missed it. Okay, so you get to pick what are your sacred rhythms. The second thing is to design an insider language. So I know in sales, they say never use acronyms. It's really good for you and your company to have insider language. And you can do insider language in a lot of ways. Did anybody start in a new industry and they have all these acronyms? You're like, I don't know what the heck's going on. Yeah, and as soon as you start knowing the acronyms, you feel like you fit in. So you can artificially design this inside your company. So if you have conference rooms, I would name every conference room a different name. And I'd be really creative, right? This is the Joe Schmo, whatever. Because new people are going to come in. What are they going to ask about the name of the conference room? Why did you name it that? And what's somebody going to do? They're going to say, oh, well, they named it this way, and they're going to tell the whole story. This is insider language. And isn't it true that once you know the stories of the place that you're in, you start feeling like an insider? So you can create opportunities for people to be an insider, right? Give language. So every meeting that you have, give it a different name. Design things differently. This all comes back to being creative. The third thing is rituals. What are your rituals in your company? If I was to ask the Elliott Group rituals in your company, would you say you have a bunch of them? Yeah, there's a ton of rituals. Like, we should do the champion chant for sales. What do you call that, Danny? The Sales Warrior Creed. Should we just do it? Yeah, I think we should. How about the Elliott Group just come up and do the Sales Warrior Creed? Can we do that? I think we should see. This is just a ritual. Let's get on down here. Bring them down. We'll get it down here. And I guarantee you, when you're in a room, like I'm just throwing this on. Let's come on the stage. Give these guys a hand. All right, come on. Who's going to be our warrior? Who's going to lead it? Who's going to run it? Let's go. Somebody step up.
Come on, bring it up. You're going to run it. Come on. I ran it yesterday. Cool.
I ran it yesterday. We don't need a mic.
You don't need a mic?
I need somebody to do it. Let's go.
Blow my voice box out.
So I'm just going to set the context here. A couple of times a week, the energy's just low, and they say, let's do the warrior chant, and it goes just like this.
All right, you guys ready? Get on, boy.
Play along.
Get up. Come on. All right, I'm only doing that because I'm going to need you guys to be a little bit louder than me and my team. So it's going to be the entire audience versus us. You ready? So I'm going to say something. You're going to repeat it back. That's not going to work, is it?
No.
All right. Shit, we're just going to go with it. You guys are going to repeat it. You guys are just going to go with it. Start repeating it when you get it. I am going to lead Sales Warrior.
I'm going to lead Sales Warrior.
I will destroy my competition. I will always place myself. Damn it.
I will destroy my competition.
I will destroy my competition.
I treat objections as complaints.
I treat objections as complaints.
I dress, walk, and talk like a warrior.
I dress, walk, and talk like a warrior.
I will always
You almost got the soul.
standard.
You straight in there.
I love our customers. I love our team. Let's go.
Thank you. All right, thank you.
You guys always talk your own people too well.
Yeah.
What you just experienced is a ritual. And when you experience a ritual in a company, you will never mistake that company for any other place. I don't care if that's not your style. It's not the point. You have to have a ritual. That's how people decide they belong. Did you see it on their faces? You could, right? Is that fake energy? No, it's absolutely real. Comes from the heart. And when you participate in a ritual, you feel pride. Think about yourself when when your team's winning. In sports, when your team's winning, are you filled with pride? Absolutely. You like feel the adrenaline rush. And you're not even on the team. You're sitting like on a bench, eating like corn dogs. And it moves your emotions. And you're talking about it the next day. And you're getting in fights with people who were the other side. And you weren't even on the field. That's the truth about humans. Humans are unique, but they're predictably unique. Humans love ritual. Design your rituals. I love that ritual. All they have to do when they notice the temperature's down in the room is say, let's do the Sales Warrior. And instantly the temperature changes. Right? How hard do you walk around your office and like, it's quiet, it's a dead zone. And you go, what's going on around here? How do we get people's energy up? How do I get them dialing phone calls? What if you had a Sales Warrior chant? It would make you uncomfortable, I know, because some of you, when Ian was up here just trying to get you to, smile at your neighbors, it was tough. Your team will only be as comfortable in your presence as you are in your presence. If you're embarrassed to talk about your emotions and you're embarrassed to emote and talk about life and real things, they're going to be that way. They have a fitness challenge. Danny started it. 100-day challenge about just being healthy. And I saw the requirements. Like you got to post a picture every day. It's not required, by the way. Got to get your blood work done. Got to post the results. Like this is pretty exposed. I think nobody's going to do this. I think that's all like 40 people. And every day they're posting a picture of themselves. Right? Now that's not for everybody. It might not be for you. But for people that live and breathe this culture, that's for them. It fires them up. And if you get somebody that comes in and you can get people believing better about themselves, and by the way, that's your job as a leader. This is a truth. People will work for you. Write this one down. It will change your world. Promise you. Next time somebody quits, read this back. People will work for you for as long as they believe they can do the best work of their life working for you. People will work for you for as long as they believe they can do the best work of their life working for you. The minute that's not true, they're looking elsewhere. So how do you design that belief that when you bring people in, they go, yep, I'm going to sign up with this company. I can do my best work of my life working here. Number 4, the common enemy. It is a truth about humans that it is way easier to be against something than for something. Does anybody want to argue with me on that? Like somehow we get in the HR world and we put things on the wall that are all inspirational, really nice. It's the positive. I'm going to encourage you to have an enemy. I don't know how many of you, I'm starting to be the old guy in the room, but like when T-Mobile first came on the stage, does anybody remember like John Legary, the CEO? Like cell phone companies were really like still suit and ties and that sort of thing. And then John came out and he started wearing jackets that color, pink, right? Sort of the rock star look. And he was like, these companies are trying to screw you. And it was very uncorporate. And when you look at their profit and loss statement, they just took off and took market share because he had a common enemy and people would rally behind that enemy. So ask yourself, what are you against as a company? This could be a standard. If you think to the Elliott Group, could you hear some of the things they're against just inside that morning meeting? Against TikTok. Huh? Yeah, against quiet people. Yeah, you can't be an introvert, that's for sure. No, I know some introverts. Yeah, alcohol is an example. Against mediocrity. Against showing up and not bringing your best self. They don't actually even care if your best self is better than everyone else. It is you against you. That's their creed. And the only expectation is you're getting better every single day, that you're holding yourself to a high standard. The enemy is complacency. So I want you to think about yourself Let's go back to not people want to belong, people need to belong. Do you have sacred rhythms? Do you have an insider language? Do you have rituals? And do you have a common enemy? Just go through and start thinking about your enemy. All right, you probably didn't think I was going to show bathrooms, right? So I just want you to imagine this bathroom on your left. Looks sort of like a stadium bathroom. You ever been in one of those sporting events? You go in, it's like chaos just happened. You don't really want to know, but you got to go. So you go and you wash your hands and you know, this are like this. And you do this with the door and you shoot, right? And what happens if the towel doesn't get in the waste paper basket? You don't care, right? You just go right on out the door. I want you to imagine, though, that you're in the other bathroom, the one on the right-hand side. Looks like it's in a really nice restaurant. There might even be somebody there with mints and a towel. You've been in those restrooms. Think about when you go up and you wash your hands. Do you even think about, I know Ryan does. But does anybody other than Ryan think about, like, you don't even think about shaking your hands, right? And you certainly don't think about shooting the towel in the wastebasket. In fact, you probably, if you get water on the counter, what do? You wipe it down like you're at home. Now, let me ask you, is it because you're a hypocritical human being? Maybe. No, this is a truth about humans. We're going to adapt to the environment we're in. Like the very thing you see in your company that you're complaining about, hold up a mirror and I guarantee you that's you. You just can't see it. And you work really hard at changing other people, but you don't change yourself. Because we're all that way. If somebody comes into your organization and they're sloppy and they're dirty and they do that, it's because you've tolerated that. A standard, noticed, a missed standard, noticed but unmentioned, is no longer a standard. Let me say it again. A standard, missed, noticed, and unmentioned is no longer a standard. That means if you're a leader and I'll give you a real example. I'll go into an HVAC company. They had this nice poster here. It was like one of those little stand-up banners, sort of like our ones over here. And it has the man, polished boots, nice thing, badge on, looking nice and clean. And it says, this is our standard. They even had polished boots, gray belt. And I sat in their sales meeting and everybody walked past it. Everybody had dirty boots. Nobody had iron things. They had holes in them. Do you think that banner is the standard? Yeah. Because the leader was there, rolled up the banner, noticed that the standard wasn't met, didn't say anything. It's no longer a standard. How many times do you have to ignore a standard for it to no longer be a standard? Yeah, once. That's it. You have to develop the backbone as a leader to be willing to sit in judgment. Now, notice I said be willing to sit in judgment. I didn't say needs to sit in judgment. Do you know the difference? You ever been around somebody that needs to sit in judgment? Like they're looking for things. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you have to be willing to. If you're going to set a standard, you have to be willing to say the standard's unmet. And frankly, sometimes it's not hard metrics. Like it's sort of a judgment call if you're meeting this standard. But you have to have the courage to say this standard is what represents us as a company and it's unmet. So this is what I mean by this, right? Go back to the previous one. People need to belong. Whatever they're doing to belong. When you shoot in the sports thing, it's because you want to belong. You know how crazy they'd think if you were in there in a stadium bathroom, like wiping things down and picking up the trash? You wouldn't do it because you want to belong. Same thing if you're in the clean restroom and you were shooting basses. You don't do it because you want to belong. So whatever is happening in your company is because people want to belong. All right, number 5. The only reasons that matter are their reasons. The only reasons that matter are their reasons. So how often when you sit down with your team or when you lead your team, are you talking about their reasons versus your reasons? Do you think your employees care if you're a $30 million a year company? Probably not. Do they care if you met your margins on parts Probably not. The only reasons that matter are their reasons. So this is just a truth about humans that when you understand that and you can master that to understand what is your reason, this human being right here, now I can have a conversation. So as an example, when I bring somebody onto a sales team, how many people know Tommy Mello here in town, A1 Garage, right? Super successful. We got to working with his team. He started his Dream Manager program. So he brings a new employee in. They actually sit down. They talk about what does your finance look like? What does your health look like? What do your relationships look like? You know, all those things you'd be like, oh, I don't want to talk about those in our company. And they pick one to get better at, and they help them get coaching to do that. So do you own your own home? Oh, why don't you own your home? Well, my credit sucks. Great. We're going to get you a credit counselor. Would that be good? And they talk about their reasons. And when they talk about their earning plan, which is mostly commission, they don't talk about why are you missing sales. They're like, look, if you continue to turn in performance like this, you're never going to be able to buy that first home. And you told me the first home was important to you because it would do X, Y, and Z. Can you feel the difference? So you have to train your leaders to have intelligent conversations that start with their reason, not the reason from the company. And I would say if you write down all of the problems in your company that you needed to talk to an employee about and say, how can I tie this to something they need or want? It'll totally change the nature of that conversation. All right, let's go back to the single most important system in your business is the one for recruiting, hiring, and retaining a team. We just talked about the 5 truths about humans. They're all patterns. And the reason I started there is we could help you hire really great humans. And if you didn't have a really great business, it wouldn't matter. Okay, so let's just assume you're running a great business. You've mastered all 5 of those things. I'm going to show you how you can have a great team. Again, people are unique, but they are predictably unique. And I'm going to share with you our data platform for hiring. There's a number of people in this in our audience today that uses our platform. That is what ElliottHire is. It was previously under the name WhoHire. If you've heard it under that, we're joining forces with the Elliott team. This is a predictive intelligence platform that helps you hire great humans. We're going to be able to tell you with statistical accuracy who's a fit, who's likely to perform and stick and stay in your organization. So how do we do that? We've done the largest research ever on the roles inside of your organization. So for example, when we went into the HVAC plumbing business, we got hundreds and hundreds of companies to let us assess all of their employees against these sort of things. We have about 450 stable human attributes. You can see them: aptitudes, interests, dysfunctional traits, emotional disposition. Would you like to try to figure out all those in an interview? Really tough, right? I'd love to figure it out. The problem is you wouldn't know which of these matter and which don't. So when we went into HVAC, we assessed thousands of employees. We got this sort of data on who are the kinds of humans doing the jobs. And then on the other side, we got their actual performance data out of things like service timing. We got manager rankings. And we just did a statistical match, a machine learning algorithm, to say which of these things matter for this particular role. For an HVAC salesperson, a dispatcher, CSR agent, and we've done that across many, many trades. So when you have a applicant come into our system, and we manage everything from posting the ad, interacting with the candidate, all the way up through scheduling and hire. So we automate about 70% of the headache of just looking at resumes. How many people love looking at resumes? Yeah. So don't look at any until all the way at the end. Oh, somebody in the end. So this is an example, we're comparing them. So rather than in most companies, you're going out on Indeed or elsewhere, you're looking at a resume and you have somebody that's probably mid-20s who's never done the job, deciding if that person should make it into your company. It's like the most inefficient system I've ever seen. Instead, what happens when somebody comes into our system is we're looking to say, how does this person compare to the hundreds of people whose performance we already know? Would that help you hire better people? And we're going to give you a score on 2 things. 1, 0 to 100. How do they fit for that role? It's role specific, and also what we call a flight risk. So how long are they going to stay? So when you're placing your bets on humans, you're already starting from a place of strength. So this is what we call the ElliottHire platform. We've used it in many companies to help them scale. It's the work that we're doing with the Elliott team. It's one of the things that's helped their team scale quickly and why we're part of their organization. We wrap that, we call that the Reggie blueprint. For this gal right here, stand up. Oh, you are standing. No. Reggie, you saw her dancing on the table earlier. She is the data scientist, the IO psychologist that figured all this stuff out. I just got to sell it. I've got the easier job. But we wrap that with all sorts of things like syncing your website, doing one-way video interviews. It's completely customizable for you. If being on a platform like this would help you, and it will help you, by the way, I'm convinced that everyone that uses our platform is going to get better improvement. We have organizations, as an example, we have a HVAC plumbing company doing a 90-day training program, putting people in trucks, has a 200% turnover rate coming out of training. Imagine spending that much money to train and having a 200%. They started implementing this pre-hire before they put them in training. They're under 20% turnover. It's a massive difference. So if you think something like this would be helpful to you, one, you got to be a good company first, because if we help you hire great people, you still got to be good people. But you can talk to anybody here that has ElliottHire. They'll meet with you, happy to explain it to you, happy to show you all the bells and whistles, fair? But it's a way to get better humans in the front door of your business. It sort of looks like this. So when somebody comes in, this represents a person. Think about them coming in. We're going to give them a score for that candidate. We're going to automatically pull out their years of experience for that job, so you're not looking at the resume. We also have what we call a go ready test. So there's some things that would be helpful within you on day one. So maybe you want them to have a basic knowledge of plumbing or electrical or use a certain program. We can test for that. We'll give them a score automatically. And then we're scoring all the interviews automatically as well. So it's really easy. When you look at the circle and it looks like that, they look really good. If they look sort of like this, they're no good, right? Just think about the better that circle is in the middle, the better they fit the profile of the human that you're looking for. So you're only going to spend your time with these people that look like this and people that don't look like that. Fair? All right. So your hiring transformation really starts with one decision. One is, are you going to become experts at understanding humans in human development? And then are you going to put a system in place that helps you take that data and turn it into performance? It's one thing that we do on our platform. We're going to track what works for you. It's going to get better over time. Wouldn't you like to take the people that have churned out of your organization and like be able to shake them just enough to go, why is it that you failed in my organization? Our belief is that your intellectual property is why people stick and stay in your organization and why they churn out. Data is super, super powerful. So with that, I want to invite up Danny. Come on up, Danny. And give Danny a hand.
Hey, give it up to Jonathan.
Thank you. How are you, man?
Man, living the dream.
Living the dream.
Got you up here.
How old are you?
I'm 26.
26. I just want to let that sink in. If you are lucky enough to spend an hour with him, you would be proud to have him as your son, for sure. Like,
That means a lot.
no,
Possibly.
can completely outperform anybody that you would ever put him way beyond his years. He's lucky enough. One, he's a great human being, but he also got inside of a culture that demanded and drew greatness out of him. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, completely.
Yeah. You could put Danny in other circumstances, and I believe he would have done well regardless, right? Because you're a good human. But you could also put him in a situation where you didn't have all that great influence and never reach where you're at today. And I sincerely believe that every year he's going to scale. Like you talk about Ben Hardy's scale, he's scaling as a human. And it's not just Danny, it's many, many people inside the Elliott organization. So I'm just gonna, what do you do at Elliott first, outside of like crush sales, get really jacked and fit, but like what's your official sort of thing?
And to touch on something you said even before, I used to always think that like, I would have been able to get to this place. Like, we got, especially like us men here, we had this ego, like I'm going to figure it out no matter what. And over the last couple of years, it's always became more and more true just being around this group. Give it up for our team. Give it up for the entire Elliott Group. Right. Being around our team physically impossible for me to become who I am today without the team that we have. Physically impossible. I used to think that like I probably could have figured it out along the way. Physically impossible. So I just want to say that to start because I used to think that, oh, I would have figured it out. You know, I'm gonna get around the right people. You know, I'm gonna get things done. You know, that's my type of personality. But the caliber when you get into the right rooms with high level people and they push you consistently every single day, it turns you into a different human. And so just very honored to have, these people in my life.
Yeah, excellent. My biggest, like, if I could make a dream for anybody in this room to come true, would to be in an environment just wants to see what excellence looks like. I really go back to good or bad by comparison. We accept mediocrity in our company not because we're not great business owners. We just we think we're a great interviewer because we compare ourselves to the 2 or 3 people that interviewed us. We think we're a great leader because we compare it to the boss we had. When you get around real greatness, it's not that you're not capable of it, it's just maybe you haven't seen it. I would love for you to spend time in an environment like this, like you got to today, because humans are capable of so much more than what we give them credit for. It makes me so sad when I hear people say, well, people just don't want to work anymore. People have lost all their values and people, of course they have. Because they're walking into a company like some of us have built. Like we've just taken it easy on ourselves. You take even a really damaged human, put them in a great system, and they will heal and they will become better. Like that's the game. So I just want you to talk. Where did you start out when you first got connected to the Elliott Group? Like what was the story up until then?
Yeah.
And what was the timeline, first of all? Like 5 years ago or?
I've been with Hank for the last 6 years. I'm our VP of sales, and I do just about everything. I'm not really big on the titles. I'll do whatever is required to get the job done.
I even saw him like changing trash out by the.
Oh, you're up there.
Yeah, good. Yeah, good. No, it's good. Yeah.
I don't care. Call me the janitor, show me money. It doesn't really matter. That's the culture. But I started off in the car business, back in 2020. I went from being a college dropout, started in the car business, started selling, and COVID hits, and I was selling 6 cars a month. And anybody ever been in the car business? Any of my car guys in here? What is 6 cars? Horrible. You're about to get fired. And that was a conversation I was having with my team. He said, hey, you're at 6 cars, man. Like, there's not much we can do here. COVID's hitting. We're going to cut the floor in half. And so I'm like, man, I'm not going back to college. Right. I don't want to join the military. It's just not really my lane. What am I going to do? So I said, well, look, I have to make this shit work. I got to dig deep. So I go on YouTube and said, how to sell cars. I started there. I go and find Andy Elliott on YouTube. Watched 3 YouTube videos the next day, made $1,500 commission. I was living at my parents' house, and my parents' house was a 600 square foot apartment with my father. My parents were split, and I grew up on food stamps, EET, ramen. Anybody grew up on food stamps? Right? EBT, been there. I was a struggle bus. And that was my life growing up. And so I was just like, you know what? Like, it kind of that switch flipped in me. I was like, I figured this thing out. So I reached out to Andy. He closes me because he's the master closer. And I ended up coming out to a seminar next month. I did 25 cars. Just shifted my entire mindset on what it looks like inside sales and communication, and just changed the way I was communicating, word tracks, how do you close, how do you set up, your belief system, your energy. Just changed everything overnight and became the #1 guy at a Toyota dealership with over 40 guys, and just changed my whole life. And then fast forward up 6 months later, my father passes away, drowns in a pool, crazy accident, 64 years old. I was 20. I had just turned 21 at the time. And my father was just like horrible, whole family. And just, it tore our entire family apart. You don't ever expect something like that to happen to you. That's what we always, we see things happen, like, oh man, that's horrible. You never expect something like that to happen to your close loved ones. And so it just did something to me. And then Andy called me and he was like, hey, why don't you come out here to Arizona? We're going to blow this thing up. We're going to be a #1 sales training company. You're going to freaking be millionaire. You're just selling me a dream. I was like, dude, I don't care what it is. Actually, you take that back. You didn't tell me a pay plan. Anything. And then he was telling me, we're going to need all this money. But I came out here and didn't know anything. 30 days after my dad passed away, it was literally the day after the celebration of life, I had my plane flights booked to come out here because I believed in what we were doing. I just believed in what Andy, the transformation that he gave me. And I just figured if I could give one person, one business owner that same transformation, the same information with that energy attached, that it's just a rocket ship about to take off. And I knew, I said the intuition, I knew where Andy was going. And, I was in that season. Anybody under 30 here, under 30, when especially for the people that are like 18, 19, 20, anybody under 25, some of you may need to be in season of deciding to learn before you earn. I didn't give a shit on what I was going to earn. I knew if I get into a season of mentorship and I could learn, I could be around the right people, where I could be now today, or I could be at 30 years old, will be 10 times further than going and, selling cars or making a little bit of money if I could just take a step back. And we were selling $300 courses, and we were selling event tickets with 0 ads. We were filming a room of 300 people. Imagine having no leads at all. And we were just going on Facebook groups and just hunting because we did this together, and we just decided we were going to all come together to start this. And it's kind of transformed into something amazing because we have a kick-ass team that's all got one mission and one vision together. So just grateful to be here and grateful that we're around some awesome people.
How many people want to adopt him? Yeah, yeah. Or have him work for you, right? I want you to go back to something Ben said, though, that people are a power law. This is what he meant. People are a power law. Why are you hiring C players in your company? There are plenty of A players in your company. If you create the kind of environment that draws them to you, if you're not able to draw people to you, you're going to be stuck with C players.
Let me say something on
Yeah.
that really quick. So you said something about, just like want people to, work for you. Has anybody ever said like, oh, Gen Z, I can't get Gen Z to work, or Gen Z is just like lazy. Like, what's up with this generation? Raise your hand. You've all been there, right? Raise the little eye. You guys all.
We won't hit chill.
I do agree we're in a little bit of a different generation, and I think there's a slight degree of truth to that. But I also agree with YouTube and with all the information out there. There's that 10 or 20% group of people that are looking for the right leaders to go and be a part of. Because you know what else is online? Hey, you can make a lot of money. You can make 100 grand a year. You can make 200 grand a year. You can be financially free. You can be on a laptop and do virtual sales. They're being sold this dream, and you trust me, like our generation, the guys that are in their 20s, women that are in their 20s, like they want to make a lot of money. Trust me, it's all over the internet. That's all that they see. But the problem is sometimes we won't say darn shit for what type of leadership, but what type of mentorship, what type of opportunity are we really getting them? Or is it just another job? Is it just another thing we're paying them, and they're showing up and they don't have a vision? They don't get bought into it. When Andy brought me in, he was like, dude, do your thing for a lifetime, man. We're gonna, if you can show up and you can do this year over year and you can get these results, like, dude, we're gonna blow it up together. And by the way, you got to live up to the standard. He told a lot of people that they didn't live up to the standard, and that's how it is. There's standards in life. But what type of vision you cast from these people? So I just want to say that because on the other side of the reality of, there is a piece of that generation that is completely lazy, a little lost, right? I think they're still trying to figure themselves out first. But on the other side of that, there's that A+ players. I think there's more A players in this generation than ever before, personally. But you also have the other side. So I just want to say that one thing because I think that's a lie that we tell ourselves when we're actually a blessed generation where everybody's getting sold a dream. Personal development, fitness has never been a conversation in this country before, and now it's being talked about. Mental health, all these side of things.
I get caught up in what you're saying. That's why I have to take notes, because I'll lose my train of thought and to be on the next great stuff.
I'm surprised you got me a chair.
That's why I had to set them down. Here's the thing, and I write about it in my book. When somebody comes into your organization, you're their billboard. Like, they're looking at you and the people you have your people report to, and they're saying, even if it's subconsciously, do I want to be that person? Like, if you come into work and you look drained and tired and you're complaining and all your relationships are broken and you're like, they're like, that's the best you got? And they're comparing that to this internet world where, there's a rosy picture and the grass is always green. That's why they're churning out of your organization. People are not churning out if they come into an organization and they find leadership and purpose. More than any other time in history, people crave connection, community. This is the opportunity for businesses to really thrive if you can perfect community.
Love that you said that. I love that.
Yeah, break it down inside the Elliott Group. Like, what does the community look like? Because I would think 90% of the people would have no idea how deep the community goes.
I mean, we'd be here for a couple hours, but
We got 20 minutes.
I'll start off with this. I think a lot of business owners, there's just business. There's just the side business. They come up, it's KPIs, it's just working, and then they go home and they have their personal life. I promise you, going into 2025 or going into 2026 and the next couple of years, with AI and all the other things that are disconnecting us now more than ever, and social media is disconnecting us, people are creating that connection now more than ever. Even though that you may not see it or understand it just yet, it's going to happen. It's going to happen really fast. And unless you can learn how to ingrain the personal side, people's personal lives with your business, you're going to be just like every other business. And you may go, well, I don't really want to get into all that. I don't want to talk about this, and I don't want to talk about God, and I don't want to talk about whatever your values are. You have to have some type of personal values. Unless you're a big corporate, anybody have a corporate company with 1,000+ employees? All right. I'm not Elon Musk. I don't have the corporate rules. I think we could all, do a lot of damage. And if we could get to, 8 or 9 figures, that would be pretty kick ass. And, if you get to there, you can figure out, what's next. But for us, one thing that I love is Andy's assistant. He says, Alyssa, baby Zia is her name. She got a baby strapped to her chest because, we're really big on the wives and the families. And there's literally a crib in our office just in case that she eats it because, we want to have the families are out. And what does that do for the fathers, the dads, the wives? What are those conversations like at home when you got a husband that's working his ass off, goes home to the wife, and with the wife, you ate lunch with her and she's connected with everybody. He's like, I just don't know. It's in a really tough month. She's like, snap out of it. What are we talking about? Everyone else there, I see the money that they're making. I see the kids are running around. I want some of that. You're going to get a pep talk to step back up instead of go, well, maybe, we should look at some different options, and maybe we should start kind of, seeing what's going on. Time's coming up, maybe there's some other opportunities. Remember that one guy you used to talk to? What type of conversations happening behind closed doors? I watch Andy. He says this: you'll never compete with the person they go to bed with every single night. And it's one of the smartest things I've ever heard.
Yeah, say that again. Just you should sink in.
You'll never compete with the person that they go to bed with every single night. You never stand a chance.
So you put that in simpler language. If they're married, they have a mate, right? Or if they're dating, you got to win the whole family.
So what does it mean though? Right. So we do interviews, and a lot of times when they first come in, we'll interview the wife and the husband. All right. So me and you, what's your name, brother?
Brandon.
Brandon, me and you will be having a conversation. Is this your wife?
Yeah.
So me and you will be having a conversation once we figure out that you're our type of guy. Well, hey, and what's your wife's name? Sarah. Then me and you and Sarah will all sit down and have a conversation about what it looks like to make sure we're all on the same page. If she's not bought in, this ain't gonna work. And I don't come from this place of I need people, I want people. And and how much more is she bought in if you got to move, if there's travel expenses, if you have a tough month, because it all happens inside business. We don't have these conversations, so that might be too much. That might be like a weird conversation. And by the way, it is a little weird at the beginning, but dude, the realness that you have with people when you could do different things like that. Sometimes weird is good. And I more often than I think weird is the best thing ever because everyone's in this box. And I just watch Andy just break that box all the time. So we'll brand people and we'll interview the spouses and things like that. But team culture is just amazing. We'll come in, we got team runs on Thursdays. We got our morning meetings. We're in a fitness challenge, baby showers. I mean, there's a baby shower every weekend. Guy, how many baby showers do you have?
Everybody's having babies.
I'm like, damn, all you have to popping on some kids. There's so many kids in the house.
So let's see. So how many years has it been since you were delivering Chinese?
I was delivering Chinese food when I was 19 years old.
So do the math because I'm tired.
7 years.
Yeah, so 7 years delivering Chinese to this monster leader in an organization. And he's one among 25 that I could name in this organization. The reason I'm sharing that isn't to put you down because I think you're the leader among leaders. It's that if you have a belief that great people are hard to find, they're not. They're everywhere. We have more humans looking for work than any other time. We're going to have more humans looking for leadership than any other time. There are people that will lead with not even understanding what their pay is going to be. How many people in the other group moved across the country not knowing what the pay was? Look, if you look behind, a bunch of them, and ripped up their whole families and moved them here. That's a movement, right? You think just back to Ben, if you want to scale your business, how do you scale the impact your organization has so people can see it and go, that's my tribe, that's where I belong. That's the goal we should be going for. It shouldn't be to, improve retention or improve onboarding. I mean, those are, yes, you got to do those things. But really think about how do you design your business. I think you guys do a great job.
There's finding people, but it's also building people.
Yeah.
I want you to think you're going to find, everyone wants to find A players.
Yeah, that's true.
And we attract A players now, but we built A players. I was not an A player. I might have had a wannabe A player mindset, but I was.
Oh, you were great at Chinese.
I was a C+ player, and Andy developed me. And alongside that leadership, where's your leadership? How many people have been with you for 3, 4, 5 years? I've had a piece in building these people. they'll stay with you forever. You'll never have a problem with retention with A players, because A players sometimes are actually loose cannons. They want to break the core values. They're top salesmen. They do what they want. Sometimes they're the worst people, especially when you recruit them in. They're the hardest to get in line. But when you build those A players, the retention's on point. Those are the people where you see frontline leadership. And that's one of the most difficult things to do. But if you want to keep people for a long time and really have that retention throughout your business, building those A players is where the secret cheat code's at.
Cool. So I want to talk about two additional things. One is you started using our ElliottHire platform. It wasn't ElliottHire at the time, right? And then we got this deal done together, and best thing ever. But just talk about the platform itself. Just what has it done for you, the predictions, that sort of thing. And then second, we'll talk about the group interviews.
The beautiful thing is it happens so organically. A lot of you guys, who's actively always hiring? So raise your hand. Right. So we were hiring, and we had a conversation. I met Jonathan about, I don't know, it was probably a year and a half ago. We had a conversation and ended up just kind of, doing our own things. I came back a few months later and I said, well, what's up with the software? What's going on? He said, oh, hey, check it out. Because I was doing interviews manually. I was just literally going through one by one, and I was like, this is physically impossible. Like, it's physically impossible for me to manage everything I'm doing.
And when Andy puts out the call, how many do you get?
Yeah, he put the story out, and it's like, I'm hiring. It's like 300 people. And immediately I knew like, it was just not going to be scalable. Right? That's a beautiful problem to have, by the way. But from there, having it organized out with the system, now ElliottHire, formerly WhoHire, which is amazing. Give it up for Jonathan for building that. For making I could, honored to be mentored by this guy, and for the software, and also Regina that they developed. Regina, give it up for Regina.
Yeah.
We're right there. It's truly phenomenal, and we're not big on partners. We're not big on, we're just really not. We're just in our own lane, kind of like Ben Hardy's talking about, everything. We're in that 99.5. That's kind of where we're trying to be, and we say no to almost anything. Hey, would you make money here? Would you do this? It happened reverse, because I was like, man, I need to kind of check this out and have the system. Started using it, and automates the entire process. Sends out text, automatically schedules interviews, and I was able to run my day-to-day with everything I'm doing, right? Like, I'm not, they're not going to HR, like I'm not HR. I'm doing everything that I'm doing with our sales team, helping out with every other thing that we're helping out with, and now showing up for the interviews and just checking out the system because it's managing everything. It's all set up. And so I was able to buy back so much time and so much headache of being able to see who's even get fit to talk to, and who even makes sense. So it's the only reason we've been able to hire. Raise your hand if it's your first 90 days. Elliott guys back in the back, right? Thanks to ElliottHire, y'all the reason. Heck,
there you go.
Because I wouldn't have been able to get to all you guys.
So on top of that, talk about two things. One, we implemented a couple things so that you can use technology, and technology is only part of the piece. That's why I didn't start with technology, because you've got to get the other understanding humans right as well. You can put great technology, you're still gonna have a problem. You got to do both. You came and your leadership came and we did some training and development. What were a couple of the insights out of that? And then particularly talk about the group interview process for you, but maybe a couple of insights you had about thinking about the whole process of humans.
Yeah. One of the first things, mindset shifts that you gave me outside of the group interviews, I remember you said something specifically about straight commission. And my mindset used to be, well, if they don't make it, it doesn't really cost us anything. And what did you say? You said,
it costs you everything.
It costs you everything. But you also said something along the lines of, I think that's inhumane.
Yeah, that's right. I said it's immoral.
Yeah, it's immoral. And I was like, I never really thought about it like that, because I'm like, well, if they want to take the risk and they want high commissions, that's, they're going to risk it all for the reward. And, that's how it is. That's how I've been taught, right? And I thought about it, and you said, well, I do them such damage when they decide to come into the business. And if they don't succeed, imagine what damage I do to I leave them off in a worse situation. So I'm going to end up giving them an opportunity if I don't hire correctly and I don't actually bring them in the right time and actually do all those things. So I think about it like this. So you walk me through the scenario. Let's say, what was it again? Brandon. So Brandon's right here. He's just locked in, right? But imagine I hired Brandon, right? And, you go to Start and you're going to come here and work at the Elliott Group, and you tell all your friends, all your family, hey, I'm going to work at the Elliott Group. It's this amazing place. Oh my gosh. You get all the stuff packed up. You sell your house. You move down here. All this stuff happens. First month goes. We'll have the best month. Second month goes. Third month. And then, eventually you end up churning out. And then I think about those conversations. Why I think about those conversations with your family. I think about how you feel. And I think about how that affects 6 months of your life. if you don't decide to bring in the right person. So I shifted my mind on telling the people, it was kind of like those C plus, B minus players. You're like, oh, it's 50-50. We'll give them a shot. And you were like, if you're not 100% on them, you got to bring them on. And I was like, well, we need people. I mean, if you're never 100% on people, you shouldn't bring them in, because you end up doing more damage to their life. But we think sometimes we're giving them an opportunity because they're like, well, I need the job. You know, I want to be with you. You know, they're ready to show up. Yeah. But us telling them no sometimes is better off for them when they're not the right fit. Yeah. And that really changed my mind, because I'm like, everybody gets a shot, man. Everyone's gonna, you know, show up. And that might,
and I think
that was one of many, but that was a big takeaway. Because who pays their people? Is anybody bid people 100% commission, right? It's a big mindset shift, and it changed the way that I'll interview and hire people, and how I'll even tell people no versus just saying, hey, well, let's just give them a shot. Let's give them a shot. I was telling that to out half of my people, because most of your people are, you know, they're B players that you're going to bring into A players. And so you end up giving everyone a shot, and then you're like, oh man, what's going on here? Yeah, they changed my entire mindset on just.
Yeah, and I think if you can change your leadership mindset that you're in the human business, not HVAC plumbing, just make that change with your leadership team. We went into a company and we asked the leaders to guess what their turnover rate was between all the positions in their company. And we actually knew, because we went back and counted how many W-2s and everything went up. The highest anyone guessed in their company was a 20% turnover for any role. The truth was the lowest turnover was 75%. And some of the roles were higher than 200%. But the leaders just doing their job busy, they're not bad humans, but they just get busy, they're doing the humans, and they forget how many people they're burning through. And there's a cost to them, and I think that's equally as important as the cost of the organization. But imagine the cost of the organization, like just training and onboarding people to payroll and then getting the truck back, and like, that's a lot of friction in your organization if you just pull back long enough to get really good at designing your organization. And think about who you're going to be as a leader. And you should be really specific and understand what causes people to be successful in your organization. That's why Andy's able to say, look, if you're somebody that's going to drink heavily, you're just not going to be, you're going to be uncomfortable. You won't fit here. Can you tell people in your organization that they're not going to fit and have that kind of honest conversation? You should be able to have that ability to do that. And your leadership team should as well. What I would encourage you to do with your leadership team, one, everyone should know your turnover rate on every single position. It should just be like that, just like they know your sales number every month. And secondly, get all your leaders in a role and just in a room and just take your average turnover cost, right? Just average it across your company. Have all your leaders stand up and then have that percentage sit down. And it will be an impactful visual way of understanding the damage they're doing in the organization. Because if you lost that percentage of your leadership, you'd never win. And yet you feel like you cannot even notice and have that percentage going out of the rank and file, and that it's not going to have an impact on your business. It's just not true, right? The only thing worse than high turnover is no turnover. Like, you do have to have turnover, right? Not everybody's going to make it. You don't always have to feel bad. Some people just aren't going to live up to your standards. That's great. But you should know why people are churning out. Let's talk about the group interview real quick. And I almost hate calling it a group interview, so we're trying to call it the talent reveal framework. That's right. But talk about the difference. And a lot of time when I say group interview, people think I bring a group of people and I interview them just like I would you and I, but I just do it with a group. But it's not that way. Talk about what a group interview, how we do it.
Raise your hand if you've ever done a group interview. I know there's a few. Yeah. Raise your hand if you've never done a group interview. This was super foreign to me. It felt like, you know, we went to this training. I was like, it seems kind of awkward, right? Like, I'm going to be in a setting and I'm going to be like, well, why do you deserve to work here? I'm going to be poking people, and it's high. Even is like, we're in a highly confrontational, like, we're the most highly confrontational, like, type team. Like, we're right to it. And I was like, well, it seems kind of weird. And change the whole perspective on it, just realizing the amount of people that you can bring in, you know, optimal amount, you know, 12 to 15 people or whatever it may be. But being able to bring people in, expose to people like this, like right out the gate. Because a lot of times, too, in the one-on-one conversations, I don't know about, like, you guys and, like, what brand you guys have in your company, but, like, they do all the right things. So I'm going to work my hard. I'm going to show up early. I'm going to leave late. You know, I need this for my family. They're going to tell me all the right things in a one-on-one. But how do they show up with situations in front of people, especially for the sales roles? And so we do it right here. We bring in and we sell the dream to people. And we basically have them come in. And we'll say, here's good, bad, ugly of everything that we do inside the company. Here's the money you make. Here's the lives that you can change. Here's what you like and look like. Also, it's really hard. It's also most people will make it. No, we go through everything. It isn't for you. You can leave. Then we go into the interview session. And then we just sit them up here and we just round robin popcorn questions, and it exposes and poke holes in people right out of the gate. Especially, who has like techs or salespeople that they have inside their company. Raise your hands. If you're hiring for techs or for salespeople. These are front facing roles. They should be able to hold a confident conversation, especially in a small group of 5 or 6 people, and know the right words to say. You'd be surprised the amount of people that just like, yeah, they might fool you here because they're preparing or studying and they're looking up all the right things. But for me, it's just able to save a lot of time. And also it shows the people that rise and the people that are not ready, just puts them in a very clear spot. It just applies a little bit of pressure to the same type of interview.
Yeah.
Be questioned.
The other thing we do as part of that is every staff member has an assigned role. So we have undercover applicants they think are just another applicant in the company. So when all your staff members are gone, they think, hey, nobody's judging us. We're gonna just shoot the shit here, and we'll talk about how we really left our job and what we thought about our old boss. And you can hear it all.
It looks like one of our guys here's in a different shirt, and like we'll put in a different shirt, and we have an interview, and it's funny because like you try not to laugh because you're like putting them on my hey. Let's say, you talk to your wife. What do you want to overcome? Him, one of our guys that I know he can smash it. He kind of like is like trying to act like he can't kill it. And I'm going all the way through, and then they break for something, and they end up going to go to the bathroom or grab a snack. And they had this conversation. You'd be surprised what people will say like outside of the setting. They'll go, sit down, dick. Or I'll get all the feedback. And you'd be so surprised. I never thought about having someone cert cover. And it's like right out the gate, snakes do not enter the company, because it's like if that guy's already saying this and already kind of talking a little shit, like, not going to work. How about find out day one before we bring him in versus 3 months later, because you don't hear those little micro conversations until your culture starts to shift. You're like, what's going on? It's that person that you hired that's just talking a little shit to all these people in the company.
Yeah.
Cancer.
Every single leader in your organization is going to see a human differently. So you need to involve more of the team in those group interviews. That's just one portion of that. The entire thing is scripted from where they walk in the door, who greets them, how they're greeted. We assign somebody to be an introvert, somebody to be an extrovert on our team. So we get to see real time how people are doing. We do game challenges. How many of you want the whole script to how you do that? It's like 30 pages. It's line by line, what you need to say, what you need to do. Just find somebody in Elliott shirt and just give them your number, and they'll text you and they'll give you the PDF for it. Fair?
The process is so good. In the beginning, the first one, I was like, I went to the training, and then like I forgot like 1 or 2 pieces, and I was almost just gonna like me. It's like you have to run the process. Like it's really weird. Like, when I do a game, they only have a game where it's a 10-minute timer, and the game is to build the tallest freestanding marshmallow. You get spaghetti, string, tape, and a marshmallow, and you're like, what? Like, no, we're doing like and. But it's so good. It's all the way designed out, and it's so fun. And I'm a guy like who's a guy who's there like professional wing admin or what, like we're professional winger. Right? I like to show up. I'm like, I'm gonna figure it out. Right? I'm like, I don't like scripts. Right? Just give me the thing. Like we'll figure it out. You gotta learn to trust certain processes, and this process has helped us scale a lot. And we bring in people every other month. We get 30, 40 people. And is any of our guys from our team hired from our group interviews? Right? I know Ramsey was in here. We got Michael, right? O'Shea, right? Who else back there? Oh, Evan. Yeah, Evan. How was your group? Evan, we grilled Evan, right? So everybody give it up for Evan.
Come on, Evan.
Right here. Evan, come over here real quick. Run up here real quick. So Evan.
No, I mean run.
Run. Oh.
Put your pants back on.
Evan has no shoes. It's all right, bro.
Yeah, don't worry.
No one's judging you. So he was in Florida, and he was doing another sales job, and he ended up flying all the way out to come and work with us. And we put him up here. He's like, I'll overcome any objection. And I'm like, all right, well, you're going to overcome objections in front of everybody. Long story short. All right, give it up for Evan. All right, you guys, come on. You got Mike? I don't know.
Yeah, you already got one coming right here. Just come on up.
It's all right.
This is what happens when you call an audible.
Yeah.
All good. That's why we're here.
So coming into this, right, you probably thought too, like coming into it, just walk us through like, I don't know, 30 seconds out of like, what was it like? I know number one is probably like a little bit different, but it puts you in a different state, I think, where you got to perform because you're in front of people. But just walk us through like what was it like being a person on the other side of the birth interview without not knowing what's going on. I think it's a beautiful, like we usually don't get this example, and so I want to bring them up here because you want the perspective of the other side too sometimes.
Yeah, well, let's give it up for Jonathan today. Help out his little chicks. All right. Being a part of a group interview like that, it's breaking beliefs that you thought you had coming in.
take pride that I come prepared when I try to do things. So I'm the opposite of Danny. I don't just like figuring stuff out. I like to always have a plan. And so I felt like I was good. I rehearsed my answers to the questions. I knew what I was going to say. I knew what I was going to respond. And then I get here, and they're setting up a semicircle of chairs. And I got to sit in the middle, and there's 4 other guys around me. And then Danny starts asking this guy a question. And then he swings to that guy. And then he swings to me. And he's asking everybody different questions. I was ready, like, tell me about yourself. I was like, boom, I'm going to say this, I'm going to say this, I'm going to say that. And he's
This is 100% of your applicants, by the way. It's the same mental thing.
And then just coming here, it just, everything that I thought I would prepare for completely went out the window. Like, didn't exist anymore. But being in that environment, it forced me to actually be who I am and not who I wanted to present myself as.
Ooh, good insight, right? Who do you want to have show up at your interview?
The authentic version.
The real human, the authentic version, or some prepared version?
That's right. A lot of times people come in and they put on a show, right? They give you their best because they want you to see that. But then when you do see that and you accept it, all of a sudden they come in and you thought you were getting this badass player, and what you realize, you actually got a broken kid.
Yeah.
Right? If you really got someone you now you need to train, you need to work on, you need to fix him, he's going through stuff. But you didn't realize that because you thought you were hiring an A player. So when you have a group interview like that, it really lets you see who you are really hiring and not who they want you to see that you're hiring. Does that make sense? And then also what I loved, what was crazy, and the last thing was doing that group activity. That's like nothing you've ever experienced before, because you're coming, you think it's an interview, you think they're going to ask you questions. You get to show that you're smart, show that you're intelligent. And then they have you doing a project where you're like sapping marshmallows and using chopsticks. You're like, what the heck is this? And that's what really shows who you are as a person, not just as an individual, but how you work as a team. Because that's what you are when you're joining the company, you're becoming part of the team. And so that shows you the real person that you're getting and not the person that they want you to see.
Love that.
Give it up. Yes.
Hey, all things.